Hey there, Greenbelt Church. It's Pastor Kevin here. I'm back home after being away for a few days at the Fellowship National Convention in Niagara Falls. So I wanted to give just a little update on some of the things that went down at National Convention this year. Normally I would do this update kind of at the AGM or on a Sunday morning, but the AGM is still several months off, and I'm not here for the next few Sundays as I'm in Colombia, so I really wanted to just kind of get this update out because I know a number of you are quite curious about what happens at our conventions when we get together as delegates. This year's theme was having a gospel voice in a changing culture. Now, we all know the tensions of the shifts that are going on in our culture and how kind of the morality of culture doesn't line up with the morality as taught in the Bible and as what we believe as Christians, and there's this tension. And so our guest speaker this year was Sam Allberry. If you're not familiar with his ministry, he's an apologist. He used to serve in England as a minister there. And he really speaks into gender issues, sexual ethics, and he's just incredibly well-versed and just incredibly kind and passionate in dealing with this very sensitive and difficult topic. So if you check out the website fellowship.ca in the next little while, it usually takes a few days, but definitely by next week, Sam's talks will be on there, and I would strongly encourage you to give those a watch. They were very powerful and just a real challenge for the church to see this not as opposition and that there's an enemy out there that must be vanquished, but to see the gospel opportunities to bring the love and the care of Jesus into these conversations. And so it was just a great talk. This year in the business meeting, they put forward a motion that was voted on this year to begin a 3-year journey to update the statement of faith of the fellowship. Again, if you're not familiar with the statement of faith of the fellowship, it's identical to ours as a church. You could read the statement of faith in our constitution or on our website, or again on fellowship.ca, you can see it there as well. And so they wanted to just kind of go through a journey to relook at some of the language, not to change the statement of faith, because our statement of faith is quite orthodox. I mean, it's quite traditional in its view of the Christian faith. But to look at the language, this was originally written like 68 years ago. So they want to update the language of it, make sure it's clear. There are also a couple of things in there that created some tension in the fellowship that it's not very clear. For example, if you read the section on ordinances and the different things that talk about the life of a church. So it'll talk about, salvation, getting saved, then getting baptized by immersion, then becoming a church member, then starting to take communion. And it's written in that order. And it makes it sound like that's the order you must follow in order to take communion, right? And so it reads like only baptized by immersion members of the church may take communion. Now that's what it reads like, but no one practices that. Well, there might be a few that practice that. We don't practice it. You don't need to be a signed member baptized by immersion in order to take communion with us. You just need to be a believer in Jesus who saved you from your sin. So they want to clean up stuff like that. So what they're going to be doing, so that passed. There were some people that had concern because it was kind of open, like, well, we might have to add some stuff to it. And really, I think what they're looking at, adding is things like marriage and between one man, biological male, biological female, for life. Different things like that, again, in some of the tensions that we're living in as a culture today. So really that was what was kind of hinted at, but not fully said, because they're open to the 3-year process. They're going to be meeting with pastors, and they're going to have like a committee together that's working on this, which is going to consist of seminary professors and regional leaders and different people like that all across the country. And then in 3 years' time, then we will vote on the amendments to the statement of faith. So I'll keep you up to date on all of that as it goes down, if this is kind of the stuff that's really of interest to you. It's of interest to me, so I follow this stuff quite closely. And then finally, it really honestly was just a great few days away to reconnect with pastors and with missionaries and with chaplains, and just to really just chat with people and just hear how God really was walking with them through the pandemic, how so many ministries had to pivot and change how they were doing things. And so it was just a wonderful time to get together and worship together and pray together, and to be excited about the year ahead, to be excited on the things that God wants to continue to do through us, whether it's here in Canada or whether it's around the world. So that's just a little update. If you have any questions about anything else that's gone down at National Convention, I'm always happy to talk about it. Just shoot me an email, kevin@greenbelt.church, and I would love to answer any questions that you have. So I look forward to seeing you all real soon when I get back from Colombia. And until then, God bless, and we'll talk to you later.